So you survive the apocalypse, and you're raiding a house, doing what you gotta do to survive, when suddenly you hear a gunshot and you know it's nobody from your group. You think real quick to yourself, you gotta make some body armor, you need some defense. What are you gonna pick? How are you gonna make it? Let's go see what I would do. Intro. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Big Apple Ranch, and welcome to my incredibly cluttered garage. We're back doing the post-apocalyptic body armor challenge. This is part 2 of the 3-part series where you're going to see my build for the body armor. Anybody that didn't catch the first video should go back and check it out. It's where we discuss the rules of the challenge and we talk about what the challenge is. Frosty Ballistics hit me up on Facebook a little while ago wanting to do this post-apocalyptic body armor challenge, and I thought it was a great idea. So a few of the rules we have that are going to apply today are it can't be more than 16.5 pounds, so I'm going to go and get a scale. It has to be 1 foot by 1 foot, so I can't stack a bunch of material in a little area like this and call it a body armor. It has to be readily available items, so I've got some blocks of lead over here and I've got a ton of scrap steel over here, but that's not readily available, so I'm not going to be using a whole lot of that. We're going to shoot it with specific calibers from specific distances and hand tools only. That's the biggest thing. We cannot use power tools. This is the post-apocalypse. We're going to act like there's no electricity, no power tools used. So those are the basic rules of the challenge. Now, this is my version of the build. If you want to check out Frosty Ballistics' version, link in the description down below to his channel. He's got a lot of cool gun content, and he's got a leg up on me when it comes to penetration tests. He's constantly shooting stuff on his channel. If you'd like to see bullet penetration tests, definitely go and subscribe to Frosty Ballistics. He's constantly shooting interesting things. Let's go check out the items that I've got for the challenge, and I'll give a quick rundown of why I picked them and how I justify them. Alright guys, let's start out with just the top item. This is just a sheet of drywall. See, drywall is incredibly readily available. You can walk into any house, bring a razor knife, and cut it out of the wall if you need to. This is wood siding. It's the siding on my house. This I had left over. This, again, is pretty readily available. You just find a house that's sided with this material and go and rip it off. I've got some plywood here. It's thicker plywood. This is plywood that they would use for a roof, for snow load. So once again, you'd get up on the roof, you'd get your saw, your hand saw, and you'd just cut a chunk of this out if you needed it. This here, this is a chunk of countertop. This is just a particle board countertop. Super readily available. Walk into any house, rip it up off the kitchen counter, no problem. It's the post-apocalypse, guys. We're not trying to save a house. We're dismantling a house for all that it's worth to survive. Here I've got roofing shingles. Everybody knows where roofing shingles go. They go on the roof. So you just get up on the roof, you peel a bunch of these up, and you got yourself some roofing shingles. Here I've got tiles. Pretty easy to get these. You just walk into a house with a tile floor, you carve up the grout, you get under it, carefully pry it up. You've got yourself some tiles. Here I've got a tire. You can find a tire on any automobile out there. They all have tires. So, some hand tools, get you a tire. Usually, vehicles have jacks in the back. You jack it up, use the spare tire changing kit, pull the tire off, and then you just use your saw, cut the tire off the rim. Now here is the debatable item. As most of you know, different things are more readily and less readily available throughout the country. I live in the West. I live in Colorado. You'd be hard pressed to come out to the country here in Colorado and not find a building with some form of tin on it. So this stuff, this tin, is super readily available for me. Now, whether or not it's readily available throughout the rest of the country, I couldn't tell you. I struggled with this decision. I struggled with a lot of the decisions because there are a lot of things out here that are readily available for me that are not so readily available for anybody else. Farm implements, tractors, elements, 4-tractors, there's a ton of those out here. There's just a lot of stuff out here that you wouldn't expect. Like, I do have blocks of lead, and I do have other miscellaneous things that would stop a bullet pretty good, but it's not really that common. So the tin is, I believe it's the only questionable item that I have on my list. Here I've got, this is galvanized steel pipe. So you would find this in a chain link fence. You walk up to your neighbor, his chain link fence, take your hacksaw and cut it out of his fence, no problem. Here I've got some steel poles. You can find these in folding chairs. Tent posts are pretty similar to these. They're just real thin-walled steel posts that they use for folding chairs. They use it to frame cheaper lawn furniture. I've got a surplus of coffee cans. And the last item I have today, 4x4s. Oh, I missed. I've got the 4x4s, but the last item I'm going to use is this 2x4. So, those are my items. Now let me explain my thought process here. So I knew I wanted a source of steel. I've got some really thick wall pipe back here that I really wanted to use, but to be completely honest with you, I'm too lazy to cut it by hand. So I thought, why not grab some thin wall galvanized steel for the back? That's going to be the closest item to your chest. And I'm going to pack it with dirt or sand and tape the crud out of each pipe. From there, I'm going to use the smaller tubes to go in between the gaps of the galvanized tubing to stop a bullet from coming in right in between two pipes and slipping through there and coming and getting you. Hopefully that is enough to stop it. I knew I wanted more than one source of steel, and I knew that I wanted some sort of material between my sources of steel, because my idea is, now I've never really tested bullet penetration, but my idea is I want that bullet to expand rapidly. I expect it to go through the first source of steel. I want it to expand rapidly. I want it to use all of its energy in the other material, the wood and the drywall and the roofing shingles and whatever else. I want it to use all of its energy through there, and I expect it to hit my galvanized steel tubing, but that's where I hope it stops. At least that's my mentality going into this project. Now, I'm not sure I'm going to use all of this material because the 16.5 pound weight limit is going to prevent me from using quite a bit of it. I don't know what a lot of this weighs, so there's going to be a lot of testing involved, but I've got all this extra material just in case I hit a spot where, you know, one material's too heavy, but I've still got a little bit of weight to take up. Hopefully I can use one of my other materials to take it right to that 16.5 pounds, because that is the limit, and I am taking my body armor right to 16.5 pounds. There's one more item I come across, guys, that is pretty readily available that I would like to implement, and that's a mud flap off of a semi-truck. Post-apocalypse, any truck stop, any gas station, you probably find those all over the road. You just go and peel it off. You got yourself a mud flap. I'm going to go and start cutting up some of this material, cutting it to size, and then weighing it so I get an idea of what each material is going to weigh. One pipe, guys. I'm already regretting the hand tools rule. But let's see what this one foot pipe weighs. I want to say it's probably about an 1.5 inches in diameter. Level. 5.8 ounces. Perfect. So I can use more of those than I thought I could. Now I want to figure out how many of these pipes I can stack side by side to make 1 foot across. They're 1.25 inches in diameter. That gives me about, if my math's right, I need about 9 of them across, and that'll give me just under 1 foot. It's 2. We're gonna take this into the garage on my vise. I don't think a vise is cheating. Alright guys, here we are in the garage. I got it on my vise. And look at this. Power tools, cutting torch, air tools, everything just screaming, use me, but nope. Hand tools only. Bad news, guys. I cut that whole pipe up into 1 foot sections and I only ended up with 7 of them. So I'm measuring 9 1/4 inches across right now. And I'm all out of galvanized steel pipe. But I think it'll be okay. I don't think there's anybody home at my neighbor's house. Give me a second. I'm gonna take my hacksaw and I'm gonna get some more galvanized steel pipe. All right, guys, I was right. No one was there and I've got enough galvanized steel pipe to finish the project, and I don't think they're gonna be mad. Do you think they might be mad? But I don't think they're gonna know who did it. I mean, they do watch my videos though. That fence was ugly anyway. Let's get back to cutting. Alright guys, I got 9 now. Let's get a quick measurement. I think we're going to be just under 1 foot here. Right, so I'm at just over 11 inches. I'm like a 1/4 inch away from a foot. So that's perfect. This is going to be my bonding media of choice, duct tape. Stuff is gonna be like gold in the apocalypse. Alright guys, I got those taped together temporarily. Now I'm gonna cut up these little pipes into 1 foot sections. To fill the gaps, I'm gonna need 8 of them. And I'm gonna tape those in between. And then I'm gonna get a weight and figure out where I gotta go from here. Alright, I got my 8 in-betweener pieces. I'm gonna tape those up to it. And then we're gonna get a weight on it. So, trying to get these pipes formed with just duct tape and not being able to tack weld them or anything, it's pretty difficult. So I'm gonna come up with something to sandwich them in between. And I'm thinking I'm going to use one of my clay tiles in the back. And I'm going to tape the crap out of it. I expect this to crack. The force of any, maybe not a 22, but the force of any of the rifle bullets, the 5.56 or the 30-06, is going to crack this. But this is really just more there for structure. If a bullet does get to this, it's one more layer that it's got to get through. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out, because I've got 2 different sizes here, I'm going to figure out which one of these is exactly 1 foot by 1 foot. I'm going to use that one, and then I'm going to put that on the back, and then I'm going to probably untape all of my pipes, finagle them on there, get them to stay, tape it really good, and then I'll reweigh it and get an idea of what I can do in front of the pipes. I've got a good solid base plate here. I've got that porcelain tile, and I've got my pipes, and I've got my in-between pipes. I'm gonna get a quick weight on this. 9 pounds, 11 ounces there, guys. So that's a little disheartening. I don't have too much more to go. I've got 7 pounds-ish. So I gotta be careful with what I do. I wanted to stuff all these pipes with dirt, but now I'm kind of second guessing that because I still want a few base layers in the front. So I'll just have to be careful with my material choices from here on out. Alright guys, I think I'm going to go with this wood siding on top of the pipes to give me a base to put some more sheet metal on. So I've got it marked out here at 1 foot. And I've got a little handsaw. More hand cutting. Alright guys, so I've got my siding cut out as some structure. I'm going to cut out a couple of sheets of 1x1 tin using a couple of various forms of tin snips. This shouldn't take near as long. Okay, now instead of going another sheet of tin, I think I want to first cut up a 2x4. I want to cut a 1 foot section of 2x4 and get an idea of what that weighs, because I do want to set, would be three 1 foot 2x4s on top of this tin. And the roofing shingle is a must. I've got a plan for the roofing shingle. I have to do that, and you guys will see why here in a little bit. I got my 1 foot 2x4. It's a test piece just to see what it weighs. 1 pound 1 ounce. So 3 of them would be 3 pounds. That's really pushing it for my project. Let me get a weight on. Let me get a weight on this thing now that I've got the tin and the siding. Error. It's an 11-pound scale. Hold on, I gotta go get a better scale. I didn't account on the scale not working. I've got a bathroom scale, but it's meant for more than just 16 pounds. I hope it even picks it up. Let's see. According to the bathroom scale, I'm sitting exactly at 12 pounds. So if you take my 12 pounds, you add 3 of those, it's going to put me at 15 pounds. And then if you add my roofing shingle, you add the roofing shingle, the roofing shingle shouldn't weigh much. 0.8 pounds. So I think that's what I'm going to do, and that's going to put me really close to the end of the build. So I'm going to go 3 2x4s lined across that tin, roofing shingle, and then I'm going to get an idea of where I'm at on weight. I've got a plan for the roofing shingle. It shouldn't take up that much weight, but it's going to be pretty sweet. Got a plan for the roofing shingle. If there's anything left, I might cut up some of these tin cans. I don't think I'm going to be able to utilize the mud flap. It's pretty heavy. The 4x4s are going to be too heavy. So the clay tile is what kind of screwed me, and I'm hoping that it doesn't bite me in the end, because that clay tile was probably 2 pounds. That's 2 pounds of weight out of my 16.5, and I know how fragile it's gonna be. So, but they use ceramic in regular body armor anyway, so even if it breaks, if I've got it taped up good enough, it should help stop a bullet pretty good. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. I also wanted to stuff the tubes with dirt, tape the bottom and use a rod and just jam pack dirt, stuff them really tight, but I know that'll put me over the edge. So those are probably going to be hollow. I might, maybe if I've got some left, I might stuff them with something, but let's go see. Alright guys, I'm almost done with my build here. I've got a clay tile, some galvanized steel tubing, some smaller steel tubing in between so that the bullet doesn't just pass right between 2 pieces of galvanized. I've got wood siding. I've got 1 sheet of tin. I've got 3 2x4s stacked. Let's get a weight. I'm sitting right at 15.4 pounds. So I just weighed it, and it weighs in at a whopping 15.4 pounds. That leaves me 1.1 pound to add my 1 roofing shingle and my little surprise I had for it. I'm cutting it pretty close. Wouldn't you know it, guys, mid-build I ran out of duct tape, and I had no duct tape around the property. I had to go all the way to town to get more duct tape. That's about an hour drive. That's worth a subscribe, guys. Come on, I did it for you. I did it for you. All right, I'm about done with this here. I'm going to put my roofing shingle on, and I'm going to add my finishing touches, and I'll show you what I come up with. Here we go, guys. I got my body armor. It's finished. I've got my roofing shingle right here, and I've got a bunch of roofing nails pushed through this way to give me some tactical spikes. Now, that's not just a looks thing, although FBI statistics will tell you that 90% of stopping a bullet is looking cool while you do it. But that's not the only reason that's there. Those are tactical spikes. What if you're up on a roof, getting your roofing shingles, making another set of body armor, and you see another raider walking by, and you want to take him out silently? Belly flop him off the roof. Done. He's done. You got these tactical spikes. They're not just, this is not just a defensive item. This is an offensive item too. Awesome. It's not really cool though until we figure out if I'm within the rules. 16.5 pounds, 1 foot by 1 foot. Let's check it out. 16.4 pounds, guys. That's what it weighs. So I'm within spec on the weight. It's built the way I want it to be with the tactical spikes. I've got paracord to wear it and hang it. Now let's measure it. So I had a 1 foot by 1 foot limit. And as you guys can see, I'm a foot. Oh, go right here with it. By a foot. You guys can see that piece under there is a little bit longer. So the overall size of the body armor is 1 foot by 1 foot. Well, that's just about it, guys. I've got one more thing to do with this body armor. Let me finish this up and I'll show you the final product. Here it is, guys. The final product. This is my post-apocalyptic body armor for the post-apocalyptic body armor challenge. I've got my tactical spikes to dive off of roofs on the bad guys. I've got it painted up because stopping a bullet is 90% looking cool. I'm within weight, I'm within the size tolerances, and I think it's gonna be a good challenge. This is it. I'm wearing it. It hasn't fallen off yet, so I'm happy with it. It's not the most comfortable thing I've ever worn, but as long as it does its job, I guess it doesn't matter. Thanks for watching this, guys. This is part 2 of the post-apocalyptic body armor challenge me and Zach from Frosty Ballistics are doing. Check his channel out. I've got it linked in the description down below. If you like penetration tests, if you like to see what bullets will go through what, go check out Zach. He's got a ton of penetration test videos, and these videos are pretty cool. He's got some pretty off-the-wall stuff. Now, predictions. For my body armor, the weight stacked up faster than I thought it would. I really wanted a chunk of rubber like that mud flap or maybe a chunk of tire in between to catch jackets and shrapnel, but the weight didn't allow that. So if I had to predict, and this is just me predicting, I haven't checked velocities on these rounds, I don't really do penetration tests, I'm going to say it's going to stop at 22 because it's a 22. I don't think I'll have a problem with birdshot. I don't think I'll have a problem with buckshot. The 30-06, I'm going to go out on a limb right now and say that this is going to stop at 30-06, and this is why. I know speed penetrates. 30-06 is a bigger round, and I believe it's slower than a 5.56. Now, a 5.56 is a small round, but it's moving very fast. The 5.56 is what scares me. I think that's going to blow right through this. I don't think I'm going to stop a 5.56. I'm crossing my fingers, though. I'm hoping that I stop that 5.56. The slug, I don't think the slug's going to penetrate. I think the slug's going to annihilate. There's a difference there. I think the slug's going to hit it and blow it to pieces if we get to the slug, but I don't think the slug's going to go through all of this and the ceramic, if the ceramic's still intact. I know it's going to be broken, but I'm hoping the duct tape keeps it kind of together to still take an impact. The most challenging part of this build for me was trying to stay within the rules. Like I mentioned, there are a lot of things that I have out here on the ranch that most people, normal people, wouldn't have that would help me build body armor and survive in the post-apocalypse. For instance, a generator. You know, the power tool thing, it's realistic in the sense that the power is probably going to be out in the post-apocalypse, but I have a generator, so I could have used power tools, but then you get into the debate of, you know, not everybody's going to have that. That's not readily available. That's ideal, but what if you're just scrounging around and you don't have a place to hang out or a base camp basically with a generator and power tools and all this and that. What are you gonna do, you know? I'll be interested to see what Zach builds. Make sure you go check out my friend Zach over at Frosty Ballistics. Like I said, link in the description down below. He's got a lot of cool videos, but he's got experience with penetration tests. So I am very, very interested to see what Zach comes up with for this challenge. I'm sure it's going to be amazing. But that's it, guys. That's my build. I've shown you my build. It's as nice as I can make it. It's as good as I could get. I thought about it for a long time. There were a lot of materials that I had that I didn't get to use because of the weight. No big deal. I'm happy with how it turned out, and I think we're going to do okay. I think we're going to do all right. Like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date with this post-apocalyptic body armor challenge. Make sure you subscribe to Frosty Ballistics. Thanks for checking us out, and we'll catch you at the challenge video. I'm out.